when we just decided to start this podcast, I mentioned to you over the phone, but it was 3 pillars of ways that we can find fulfillment as men. And I got those 3 principles from the proclamation, a family of proclamation to the world.
Yeah.
And it was to preside, to provide, and to protect. I think that's what our role is as men. I mean, it kind of sums it up right there.
Yep.
How we find fulfillment is, are we doing things that help us in 1, 2, or all 3 of those categories? And I think firearms definitely, obviously, it helps us in the protection category.
Yeah.
But maybe we can dive in just a little bit deeper into that and talk about how our role as protectors in the world that we live in. What are some things that you think we can do better at as far as like fulfilling that role as men in the world we live in?
Yeah. Well, back to like being capable. So training has a lot more to do with just holding and shooting firearms. I think it goes into your physical ability. I think it goes into your mental ability. So if I had to break it down, it'd be 2 main pillars. It's like physical and mental ability. And you have to work those out just as much as you train, I think, in order to be capable in a situation. So like being physically fit is important. There's a lot that goes into like whether or not you're able to solve a situation on if you can get there or not, like if you're,
just logically speaking.
Yeah, just
like
logically speaking. I mean,
it's a simple math equation here. Like,
exactly.
If you can't get there to the top of the hill, you cannot help who's at the top of the hill.
Or if you can't carry someone, or if you can't, there's so many possibilities.
Yep.
The easiest answer is just to be capable. And so what that requires of you is to work out and to eat food that allows your body to grow. This is something that I'm working on like more than ever in my life right now. And unfortunately, like I've got a disease that prevents me from eating everything that I want to. But in so many ways, I'm like trying to buckle down. And so I can actually like get where I want to be physically. Mentally though, there's a lot of aspects to this, but like, I think just training your mind constantly. And one way that I think I do that is by believing in something that's bigger than me. And for me, I mean, that's like the most important thing I think in this world is to have a belief in God. And that's just my personal perspective, but that's gotten me mentally into a place where I feel like I'm bigger than myself, without that. So I don't know. Yeah, I think those 2 things are really important. Physical fitness is huge, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, man, I'd love to dive in on the spiritual side. I mentioned in the last episode that I don't believe, for me as a man, I could reach my capability without my belief in God. And so, definitely, I can agree with your statement. How is it? Because I also work with a lot of other men who maybe don't prioritize God as much as maybe I would hope they would, because I see the value in having a God in your life, consistently trying to work on that relationship with Him. For you, how valuable has that relationship been, and how can that help you fulfill all the roles that you have to fulfill in your life? Or ultimately, how does God? Here's a better question. Let me frame it better.
Now go for
how does God and your relationship with Him help you find fulfillment?
Yeah. Well, I'd say first, this all comes back to me in so many ways to responsibility. But if you believe in a God who wants something for you, there are requirements that He sets forth that you can do to become bigger than yourself. So the theory states, the theology states. So there's a figure who cares about you in a way where He says, do these things, take on this responsibility, and I'll make you greater than what you are now. And in so many ways, when I think about my relationship with God, it has been Him giving me the reins and the agency, but setting the path. And I have not followed the path all the time, and the growth happens in both ways. So this is the interesting part. I think God intends for you to use your agency. I think He wants you to experience the good and the bad. And so you can have a greater capacity to understand both. And I know that when I don't do the right thing or make the wrong decision, I learn. And I know when I make the right decision, I learn. So in a lot of ways, people might think like, if I don't make the right decision all the time, I'm screwing up, I'm not good, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to, so like shame on me. But to my understanding, the growth happens regardless. Like it's all by design. So just the baseline for me is having the understanding that He's there no matter what, whether I make one decision or the other. At the end of the day, I have somebody in my life who cares and who understands that regardless which path I take, I'm going to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's nice to know that when I make the right choice, He appreciates that. And I think there's a lot of like goodness that has come into my life from making those good choices. But I just think it's important for people to hear that like you're not lost if you go off the path or something like that. Like the God that I believe in is there regardless. And that's what I found in my life. Like He just cares about you so much that there's the growth is the important part. As long as you stay with Him, you know.
Right.